90% sure that's true. I've heard the tale of our servants. Lives, so that's the king won't have baby murders. Baby, they would claim was rightfully his. So it sneaks a baby
Where
late
did
to father.
Oh.
Two edibles after the show.
Sounds
Just
amazing.
Nice.
I brought them with me.
Right after we're done.
Nice.
Love that. I'm just so excited to go to sleep and sleep in tomorrow morning.
Me too.
Oh my God. It's so comforting to have Sue fix the back of my dress and be like, oh, someone's looking out for me.
Yeah. I do feel like we're flying a little solo.
Yes.
In terms of the
Yes.
costuming and stuff, but
It is amazing what like the comfort of like, I don't know, having costumers and makeup
people who are specifically there to
that
do.
is like their job to pay attention so you don't have to.
Yeah.
Hey Danny, are you on your end there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. We're dark on our end. We're about to let people in.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and start recording and then make you the host, okay?
Sure.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
When I got out of class, I was like,
All right, I'm host. Hello, streaming audience. Where are y'all? Might as well hit refresh on the GoFundMe, see if there's been any donations. Not in the last 20 minutes. That's fine. Whenever anyone wants to be here. You got about 10 minutes before they'll start showing up. Get on Facebook. Oh, I just realized Glenn probably has house music playing for your end. Boo. I should have house music playing for here. Since, nobody on yet. Whenever they want to show up. What mood are we in? Well, spot helps if I open Spotify. Yeah, we're just waiting for people to show up to the Zoom. Oh, you're feeding squirrels? All right. people start showing up to the Zoom, I should tell them I'm fake Sue. I'm the Sue substitute because I'm using her account on her computer, but I'm not actually Sue. Wait, I shouldn't play music because it might be copyrighted because it's going on YouTube. Don't want to get caught by the robots. Never mind, not playing music. Boo, that's fine. Yeah, still no one, at least not that I'm seeing. I have participants open, which usually as soon as someone shows up in the waiting room, that's where they pop up. Yeah, I know, I'm surprised too. Hello. I'm not actually Sue, but I'm using her account. She's live at the theater, uh, helping welcome the audience.
Oh, there's only three of us. Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
Well, two of us, and then the blank one is actually the theater.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So we're
Yeah, I'm not actually Sue. I'm Danny, but I'm using
okay.
her
Yeah.
accounts at home.
Okay. All right. Well, I just set you up to be on my TV. So
Even better watching. Love to hear it.
yeah. So I'm gonna mute myself and wait for the show. Okay.
All right, yeah, we'll start at about 7:30. If you haven't gotten the program yet, I can throw that into the chat here, but it should have been in your email with the
Yeah. I think I saw it in the email. Yeah. No, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Okay. See you later.
See ya. Sending that to everybody. Also, Sue, I know she can't hear me because she's probably too far away from the computer, but I love the lighting in your office. It's like you are on Zoom meetings all day, so you've got the good setup. I feel like I should be entertaining in some way while we wait for the show. Usually, when there's like more people rolling in, just talking and saying hi constantly, but with, just a few of us right here, it's just kind of the quiet period while we wait. Glad to hear you're excited. Yeah, I've been hearing about this one because I live with Sue and Glenn for a little bit, as Glenn's been in the process of writing it, which is an amazing feat because he's already written so many plays. If you looked through the program, there's some information about the 500 play project, which is working towards getting Glenn's plays published. So I think this will be one of that collection. because yeah, 500, that's a lot. That's a lot of plays. Like, and not all of them are huge. Like some are, one acts or whatever, but he's still written them. Some of them, like, in a night even. It's wild. I don't know how Glenn does it, but more props to him. Also, I gotta figure that we have some people who will be tuning in and joining us from YouTube, which means they won't be here on the chat. They won't be here on the Zoom, which they don't get to say hi to everybody for that.
Well, and I just wanted to add that I think Glenn is a genius. So I think the plays he did, was it, no, summer before last, the Greek adaptations. I thought they were
Yeah.
great. Yeah, so
And as far as how many he's done at the Sylvia Center, a good chunk. The Sylvia Center is only about 3 years worth of the plays now. Prior to it existing as the Sylvia Center, it was the Idiom Theater, which, existed for 10 years before transforming into what is now the Sylvia Center. So a lot of his plays were written through that.
yeah. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, this is the first play since pandemic that we've had any kind of live audience in the theater.
Oh, you do have audience. Good.
Yes, small group. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we get closer.
Okay. Okay, time's out. Okay, well, I'm gonna chill. I have my snacks.
Perfect. Love that. One great thing about the live streaming theater is, like, once you're muted and your camera's off, like, they don't know what you're doing. Eating dinner.
All right, thanks.
Yeah. Oh, I love when bikers go by just doing wheelies for no reason. Yes, you go bikers. Got a window on the other side here, so seeing them go by. All right, here's another person. Welcome, welcome. Da-da-da. Hi there. Use my type in there, just responding to the theater side with I had a quick question. Sounds like Glenn is starting their pre-show announcements live in the space right now. So they're getting what I'm about to give you in a few minutes. Oh, okay. Well, you'll definitely have to turn on camera there, Diane, and say hi at the end of the show. So just a few more minutes here and we'll get going. I'll give a quick pre-show announcement and then we'll let them have it at the stage side. Just a few more minutes for any late stragglers to show up for the Zoom. People probably still logging on through YouTube. There's one more. All right, folks, it's about 7:30, so I guess I should get started with this. So welcome. I would say now would be the time to please mute your camera or mute yourselves and turn off your cameras, but y'all already on it. Like, you're saving me from having to do everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming to live stream the show. I'm getting a message that Glenn is still talking. Does that mean I should wait? Are we, because am I going to be broadcasting to and talking to the folks at the theater too? Should I wait then? Tell me a magic chat box. Sorry, one moment. Conferring with the other end at the theater, because we can only do so much at once. Can't have everybody everywhere. Plus sound. Eesh. All right. All right. I have word that Glenn's done with his pre-show announcements. I'll start that over. So welcome. Thank you everyone for being here for Priestess of the Witch Goddess. It's our final show of this season. It's a very strange and constantly evolving season too. We've gone from a complete standstill of nothing with our Vikings a year ago to being, only a live streaming theater, doing, live stream performances, shoving people into trash cans, being alone in a room for the Black Plague, some different Viking heroes with, a cast of vaccinated actors ready to do some mixed up, what's that? Oh, theater with some of you actually back in the space with them. And so we're just kind of testing the waters with this show to see what it's like actually having people in the house while we're still live streaming from our homes and kind of doing both. So we're not completely out of the woods yet with all of this, but we're hoping to keep it alive. And we wouldn't have made it this far without all of our support staff, without all of you, without our volunteers, without the theater folks being actors and willing to jump in and oh yeah, I'll go in a trash can. Our board members, our business partners, our donors, all of the other artists in town. When we say it takes a village, it's a big village. And it's a lot of work. Part of that work, the Sylvia Center has our Sylvia Rising GoFundMe campaign. Right now, it is less than $300 away from our halfway point of $25,000. So thank you if any of you have donated to that. If not, we can have links in the chat for you to do that, or it's on our website. Just keep helping us spread the word so that we can get through this midpoint and cross that finish line and make all those things happen for the theater so that we can continue doing this. Quick reminder that everyone should have a program in their emails. There's more information about the 500 Play Project, which if you didn't know, Glenn Hergen Hans Zhao has written something like 500 plays, including the one you're about to see. I talked about that with some of you on the Zoom a little bit earlier. There's also some incredible lino cuts of the Witch Goddess by Luna Lino, a local artist. So check that out. There's also, bios on our actors, all the usual stuff. Yeah. So you'll be able to turn your cameras on and unmute after the show if you're here with us on Zoom. They'll turn the camera on the theater side around and let you wave. The show's about 100 minutes long with no intermission. There will be brief blackouts between acts. But you'll know when it's the end because we'll have something pop up and I'll unmute myself and welcome you back. So I guess on that note, enjoy the show and I turn it over to the theater.
I want this more than you, said the sun to the moon, as the day was breaking, and the moon still high. I want this more than you, said the moon as it was fading, and the sky turned blue, and the day was one. And the day was was one.
I kill my children at the end of this story. Near the end. A warning if you are sensitive to these things, to bloodshed and murder. There being a lot of it, most of which I am responsible for. You liking me is not something I need. In honesty, I'd rather have your condemnation than your understanding or love. Save that for someone else. There are things that you do in life that unravel your being. And you are not who you once were. You might pick up that heap of yarn, you might knit something together that resembles yourself, that lumbers on ungracefully through the world, doing a respectable impression of who you once were, but it's not you anymore. In just that way, I am no longer myself. And what good would it do you to throw anything resembling love at this golem? None of which is to say I don't feel justified in all I've done. If that's the right word. Plenty of people have done horrible things that are justified as ballast against things more horrible. That is how the world is undone. The same way I am undone. Like unraveling a long thread, pulling it, impossible to stop pulling it once you start pulling it. And it started long before the earth saw the light of me. The pulling. All of us, I think, came into this world that was not really the world, but one reconstructed the best the gods were able from a heap of thread. The long thread of mistakes and misdeeds that came before. You might find that discouraging. Some might find some hope in it, that it's possible to remake the world, to remake oneself after unfathomable disaster. Some might say, leave it there, that pile. Let the earth take it to dust to fertilize the future. Look forward, look away, hang your head down. It's all the same thing. You'd understand that if you saw the world as I do, if you were, that is to say, a witch.
Stop.
He's not really here, of course. It's witch's magic. He is far away at Lolcus, where the once famed Argo is on display. Medea tells me that any day now a decaying board will fall while he is weeping and strike him to his death. I'm to alert her at any sign of tears, but that's not a proper welcome. Let's see. One never knows where to start with stories like this. And some only know of the events at Corinth where the children were killed, but that was hardly the start of anything. No, let's see. There was the treacherous deed at Lolcus. That will need to be included. There was all of the business of the murder of her brother fleeing Colchis. I mean, the murder and the dismembering. Colchis. How I miss your green fern, your fog, and gray light. Oh, my home, mine and Medea's both. Our hills of forests and quarries along the deep, dark sea. Did you know that there is a dragon outside of Colchis? A slumbering one. The first time I ever saw Medea, she sat there, resting against its breathing belly, eating blackberries. She offered me some, but I'd never seen a princess or a dragon before and was frozen where I stood. She laughed at me and she elbowed the sleeping thing right in the gut. "There's no waking him," she said, "unless you plan to make for the golden fleece." Oh, there was the golden fleece. Yes, that is what the dragon guarded. Perhaps that is our beginning. Once there was a golden fleece guarded by a sleeping dragon on the green shores of the great dark sea in the kingdom of Hades. It could make you fly, never mind how. We'd have to go back even further for that. Dear, we'll need you most likely at some point. For now, I'll say I took some berries, took a breath, walked to her, sat by her, and tried to eat as fearlessly as she did, with the dragon breathing against our backs. The light of the golden fleece brighter than the sun through the perpetual haze of the mists of Colchis. That is a suitable beginning, at least for me.
Behold, the mighty Argo. She may not look it now, but she was famous once. Maybe the most famous boat of all time, and I was her, what do you call it? It was my boat. Boat? Ship, captain, yes! Well, now we are both forgotten. Can you think of anything more, less noble? Unheroic, I mean. Non-heroic? Non-noble? Ignoble? Well, now that doesn't sound right. Ow! Famous Apollo right in the face! Which has cursed me, murdered my children, melted my bride, taken away everything I've ever wanted, and always right when it was in reach. This is what she does to people. Takes the very threads of their existence and pulls until all you are is unraveled. What is Jason at his core? A king? A man who sees himself king? A should-be king? She looks and says, he must be made of pride then. Here it is. Tug. Yep, that's connected to everything he loves and everything he's done and everything he once had hopes for. Pull and pull and pull until this man once most beloved meets a most ignoble end. It is ignoble. Can you think of a more ignoble end than for Jason to be abandoned and forgotten on the very ship that brought him fame? Behold the mighty Argo! Oh, if there is a worse fate, she has thought of it, that witch. Son of Zeus! Oh. We didn't always look this way. The Argo, she nor me. Once we sailed the blue waters of the Aegean, through the Hellespont, through the black inhospitable Heracles and Laertes and, well, there were more than 50 of them. I won't list them all. The greatest heist crew ever assembled. They called us the Argonauts. The Argonauts. The Argonauts? Oh, that doesn't sound right now either.
My father's stories. My brother's life. Shrine to Hecate made from river stone, Hecate's embrace. My home, blackberries. Dreams of a life of seclusion, my youth. The lives of 3 Argonauts, 14 secrets, 5 suckling pigs. My love for Jason. Love. There is power in lists. This is a list of costs paid. There is a matter of accounting in life. If you don't balance the books, the gods will do it for you. Potions are beneath a queen, I am told, here in Athens. But the truth is, anyone who finds themselves comfortably atop a throne has had the benefit of many potions, whether she knows it or not. I can say with certainty I would not be here, but for moonlight distillments, but for my knowledge of plants, but for all the lessons Hecate whispered to me long ago in the shadows of the pines. I would not be here, but for the only ingredient worth anything in heaven and earth. You know what it is, right? Costs paid. Do I have to speak its name?
She speaks of sacrifice. She always has. Even as a girl, she said to me, there is only one universal currency, Layla, good in heaven and earth and in the deep forest in the shade of night. Catholico nomisma, the witches call it, the universal currency. If you look closely, even now, you can still see a purple blotch on the queen's forearm that looks like a wound or a birthmark, but it's neither. It's a tattoo of a pomegranate many years faded. I drew it there when we were still only children in Colchis. She came to me with dye and needle. She had seen my chalk drawings on the quarry walls. Mark me with a pomegranate for Cori, she says. Cori, which means girl, but I took her to mean Persephone, who sometimes is called just that.
For Cori, for her sacrifice that brings us the spring and the summer and the fall.
She was abducted, Your Grace. She frowned at me calling her Your Grace, but she is the king's daughter, and so a princess, even with dirty, bare feet. Is it sacrifice then if she does not have any choice in the matter? She was thoughtful about this for a long time. She handed me back the needle and I set to work as best I could. It was not a bad likeness of the fruit on the day, long ago when it was new and bleeding. It took the afternoon to tattoo her skin, and I had long forgotten my question when she, hours later, answered it.
A sacrifice calls out and must be manifest. So, long before her bargain to winter in the underworld, Persephone was called to it, to her abduction, her rape, her happy days in the sun before all that. Like this one. There is no separating the two. There is no before or after. That is what we witches learn. Sitting in the hills on the steep slopes, our feet in the dirt. Choice doesn't enter into it. Do you understand?
I nodded, but I didn't understand. I still don't. She was beautiful, though, brushing the blood from the pomegranate with her thumb again and again.
Something is worth what you pay for it. It's as simple as that. Men are fond of slitting the throats of oxen to show the gods what a wedding is worth, or a voyage, or a battle. Today, we sacrificed my unmarked arm to all the days ahead. To Corey, a sacrifice to sacrifice. And don't call me your grace.
Wine, your grace? Or tea? If your thoughts must take flight, as they do, it's good that they rest in Colchis, in the sunnier days before.
Yes, before. I will not wallow in the memories of Corinth again if that is what you are afraid of.
It is, your grace. The worst day of all our days, and day after day, again and again, and nobody is cursing you to it except yourself.
They're all the same, Layla. How many times have I told you?
If that were true, we wouldn't keep finding ourselves there.
Everything is...
Look on Jason. Look at his stupid face. Soon he'll be smacked dead, and that will be the end of him. Do you remember when the Argonauts first arrived in Colchis?
Everything is all at once and out of nothing from nowhere.
Come, we'll talk about the men.
And if nobody knows why they do what they do.
The moment they
And
arrive.
if they tell you they do them, they are wrong.
Eyes like the sea.
Makers of our own mythology.
Teeth like bleached bones struck by sun.
No one knows.
We came from a gray land, but I imagined from stories the heat of the sun and the color of the southern seas. And in their teeth against their sun-dark skin, I saw the lands to the south.
No one knows.
The stories say you were struck by an arrow, cursed with love, the moment you saw him.
Well, you say as though you don't believe.
If you were cursed with love for Jason, then I was as well with Laocoon. And I don't see why the gods would bother with me.
And if I was not cursed by Eros, by Hera's meddling, what is to explain all the horrible things I was to do?
Love is explanation enough for any horror. Long ago, some witch told me so. Right. Choice doesn't enter into it.
Eyes like the sea and teeth like bleached bones.
Yes. We came from a gray land, but I imagined from stories the heat of the sun and the color of the southern seas. And in the whites of their eyes, flashing against their sun-dark skin, I saw the lands to the south. This is the day we meet our husbands.
The day the Greeks come to steal our treasure, the day Hera sends that little shit Cupid to shoot love into my veins, so the stories go.
Look at them, pouring from the sea by the scores.
Yes, I see them.
That big one must be Heracles.
The sea spits them out like sardines. They just keep coming, kings and demigods. Faces you've only seen on vases, hair bleached and skin blistered, stepping through the surf like plowing oxen, their metal shields of blinding silver bordered with blackened rust. A shapeshifter among them swims to shore, a shark, and steps with human feet onto the sand. The twin sons of Boreas, men who could fly, alight like eagles on the shore, though not as lightly. Old men among them, and the slaves that worked the oars, but princes mostly, hardly men. Young Greeks oft seek their fortunes.
By the gods, what do you think they want?
Let's hope they want less than the kingdom of Colchis. For the king, my father, is nowhere in sight, and the few men of our kingdom who stand there with the gaping women look more likely to vomit than to throw a spear.
Do you remember we thought my young Laocoon was their leader? He spoke so well. We are men of Mycenae, come from far as Knossos to the Locus, north of Mycedon, men of the Argo, pride of the sea. our swords sheathed to seek an audience with the honorable King Aedes. The fame of his possessions through the Hellespont found us and carried us here, not as pirates, but as emissaries, as plenipotentiaries, to Jason, the rightful ruler of Locus, grandson of Hermes, god of trade. Damn. And then our men, all mute, you, of all people, stepped forward.
What famed possession?
Yes, and it was Jason who stepped forward and revealed himself ruler and answered you. Less to look at than most of them, but also less eloquent. We speak of the fleece.
No, do the voice.
Oh my. We speak of the fleece, the golden fleece, the skin of, who was it? Fleece the Malos? No, that doesn't sound right. Anyway, that and the witch. And you looked him square and said, what witch? And he said, his maiden daughter trained by Hecate herself, they say. And you say, oh, really? Is she such a famed possession? Grandson of Hermes, who also happens to be called the god of thieves. And then that look on your face.
Yes, I know. Everyone knows.
It was the gods that cursed you with it.
Well, someone must have been watching out for him, or would have drowned in the rain before he set sail.
He asked your father for the golden fleece that night. Just asked him for it. I mean, there wasn't a closed mouth in the room. Not even to buy it, just, I am Jason, I've come for the fleece. Well, that can be arranged. And that was about all the time it took for the king to come up with a plan to kill Jason without offending the gods. There are a few tasks to prove you're worthy, of course.
I heard. I was crying behind some wall. I heard it all.
Plow a field by sundown.
Fire-breathing oxen.
Sow the field with seeds.
I will burst into skeleton warriors bent on your death.
And then nothing but a drowsy dragon stands in your way. He was at least bright enough to look afraid.
Yes, but not bright enough to flee.
Well, perhaps you've been looking after him all this time, goddess. You've protected him long enough.
Goddess! Now is it?
Well, no, your majesty, I just thought, all these years with you and I still don't know what to call you.
Call me Medea, as the Greeks do. There are worse things to be called than cunning. The last time Hecate spoke to me, she said, it is easier to be a god than a witch. The gods break promises. The gods pay no vows. Be a queen if you want to be. It's a rare thing to get to choose between the three. But they are separate roads, princess. Priestess. You can walk only one of them well.
My story is a simple one. I was raised in a cave by a centaur. I'm 90% sure that's true. Have you heard the tales where a servant sneaks a baby away in the middle of the night so some usurper king won't have the baby murdered, so the baby won't one day return to reclaim what is rightfully his, so the servant sneaks away in the middle of the night and delivers the baby to a centaur loyal to the baby's deposed father? Well, and Cheiron, that was the old centaur's name, never let me forget that I was to be heir to my dead father. Well, we thought he was dead at the time. We later found out he wasn't. Kingdom. I say cave, but it was really quite fashionable as caves go. Had a carpet, cutlery, a full bar. I was raised a proper gentleman, and Cheiron, that was the old centaur's name, never let me forget that I was to be heir to my dead father. Well, never let me forget that I was to be king. It was a strange thing to think about, never actually having seen a kingdom or people. I had never seen gods either, but Cheiron, the centaur, told me that they were on my side, Hera especially. I learned to pray to her. I burnt meat to her, rabbits mostly, smoke to the heavens to my protector in the hopes that she would one day reveal herself to me. On my 20th birthday, the horseman sent me packing. "Jason," he said, and patted me on the shoulder in a way that someone who had only seen somebody pat somebody on the shoulder but never actually done any patting. "Jason, you seem bright. Or rather, you don't seem bright, but all humans to me seem rather dim. So I don't find your dimness all that alarming. You're probably fine. Above average, probably." He realized this wasn't going as well as either of us had envisioned, thrust a sword at me, and said, "Go out and take your place in the world. Kill them all if you need to." And then he kissed me awkwardly on the top of my head and galloped away violently at a great speed. Up until then, I had only killed some rabbits, so killing everyone seemed particularly daunting. But I vowed to do what I had to. From then on, my life is a javelin in flight. Nothing can deter me from my path. I am royalty displaced. It was the only thing I knew. The gods move mountains to right what is out of place in the world of men. This is what I was taught. They move unseen through human hands. You are both the subject and the vehicle of divine justice, noble Jason of Lolcus. Like all the babies left in reeds and rivers, swaddled in blankets the color of night.
You travel to your father's land, so the stories go. You meet King Peleus at the river, not knowing that he is your father's usurper. The king, not knowing that you are son of Aeson, the old deposed king, 2 decades under house arrest. The king just sees a dirty traveler, but a strong one who looks well-trained, and invites you to dinner in hopes of enlisting you into his guard.
All the days of my youth, I was fed the tale of righteous vengeance against King Peleus, who murdered my father and stole the kingdom from the bright days of my future. I go to him and try to face him with a warrior's gaze, but he is old, just about held together with spells and medications. Task seems less heroic than advertised.
You sit at Peleus's laden tables, not eating, until the king asks you what's wrong. "Young traveler, what pains you?"
What pains me? That my father was murdered is what pains me. That his kingdom was stolen is also what does. That it was this kingdom and that I am his son Jason, here to remove your head and replace it with my own. Head of state is what I mean, you know.
The bread of the feast had already been broken, and so by
It doesn't seem possible. All those years.
all the days of your life.
He smiles and asks me if I'd like to see him. Yes, I stand and sit and stand again.
I'll bring you his head then. That shuts you up. And in the silence that follows, he unleashes the words that will unleash all of the madness to follow. For no reason other than it is the most impossible thing he can think of, he tells you of a golden fleece far away on the shores of the inhospitable sea. Bring that to me, and you will see your father with his head still attached.
If I return with such a gift, I will see my father again, and his head will wear the crown.
You must have thought yourself a keen negotiator, at least until your hand was so quickly clasped to seal the bargain. Peleus could not believe his luck. Odds that you would return were low, let alone return with dragon's treasure.
He didn't mention the dragon. I had to find out about that part later. It wouldn't have stopped me from sailing, though, and he wouldn't be the first to underestimate Jason, but I was to need a ship.
He finds a guy named Argus, who builds him the greatest ship of all time. And they name it after him. And then they assemble the greatest crew of all time. And they name the crew after the guy that they just named after the ship. And they row island to island, picking up princes with nothing better to do than abandon their comrades and accidentally murder their allies and shoo away harpies and crash on rocks. Do you know how many times I have heard the story of Jason assembling his mighty Argonauts? They would have all sailed to their death, Heracles included, Laertes, Orpheus, all of them, had I not rescued them. Let him suffer in his memories, if I'm to suffer in mine. Have we not already met him on the shores of Colchis? Let him find the thread of the story there.
Does that girl know who she's speaking to?
What's this? Tell me he does not mean me.
No, he doesn't. Not now, anyway. It's what he says on the beach that day after you've stormed off. After you say what which, and he says, oh, really? And you say, oh, really? And he bays like a lamb. But then you storm off. That look on your face of love, or well, whatever it was. And then he says, does that girl know who she's speaking to? And I say, that girl is daughter in the house of Aedes, from the line of the sun god Helios. And before him, Thea and Hyperion, rulers of light, priestess of the witch goddess Hecate, whose temples rest there, where your eyes can see, where the fog rests in the trees.
Ha! I never knew that.
His men drag him off, and Laocoon takes my arm. Forgiveness for him and all of us. We are princes in our own lands, but we know no customs here on the inhospitable sea. His hand is warm, and I feel it even after he takes it away. I cannot counsel you on diplomacy other than to tell you to flatter everyone the way you would the king, and flatter the king more than anyone. And don't call our sea inhospitable. Has it not welcomed you this far?
He should have told you he was the lone bastard on a ship of princes.
I never cared what he was. I've no fondness for princes.
You look at Jason with fondness.
With pity. Oh, look at him. He wanted only one thing all his life, and he never even got it.
He wanted only one thing?
No, I didn't.
He wanted only one thing? What one thing was that? Oh, was it his bride, to whom he swore fidelity to in streams of wine, swore to nurture like a city from the sand? Was it his family?
No,
His children? Mornings in bed, and peace and sunlight, years of happiness. Is that what he wanted? The fleece. His aged father resurrected with magic. What one thing? Speak it, woman. He wanted only one thing. It's not your fault. It's either true or it's not. What did I want? I wonder, what one thing? Stronger than lovers' love is lovers' hate, incurable in each the wounds they make.
Stay. No. Stay with the story. Here, Your Grace. Leave Corinth to Corinthians. We are in Colchis.
How is it that just one day carries the weight of the sun?
You are behind a wall somewhere. Your father's feast. I am there.
You were there that day in Corinth.
That day is no
too.
good for you, Your Grace. Yesterday, you said that you wanted to be understood.
I did not.
Yes, you did at breakfast, that you wanted to be loved.
Who are you talking to? You have lost your mind. I am tired of stories. I am tired of shadows of the past. I want the past itself wrenched here and manifest.
Yes, but other days.
And I want your love. Do not listen to a word I say. You've clung to me like a shadow for a lifetime. You don't know even that? The days I chose to betray my family and murder my brother are the happier days you want to return to?
Like you said long ago with Persephone, choice doesn't enter into it.
Maybe it was the hormones.
Medea.
I was struck by an arrow, have you not heard?
So the stories go.
I went and I saved him. I knew what I was doing. And love would not have made me do that. In whatever form it fell.
Something did.
My father thought his kingdom would be a fishing village, but for the fame of the Golden Fleece. What he didn't know was his kingdom would be a fishing village, but for the magic of the witches who dwelled there. But for Hecate, who brought him fame and gold and protection, and never once in all his days did he light a flame to her. Did he think she by chance dwelled in the hills behind his bed? A magic dragon guarded his magic fleece, and all he saw was gold. God, if he had just killed him. But he sent Jason to his death by the magic of witches, fire-breathing oxen, seeds that will burst into skeleton warriors. By rights, we had a say. Listen to me if you want to live. The tasks my father have set for you to obtain the fleece are made to kill you.
Others have tried. Shh. I'm not too proud to plow a field.
Now is not the time for you to speak. Understand?
Yes, I understand.
The oxen you are to use breathe fire that is death to men. You'll need ointment to survive the oxen flames, or you won't plow the field set for you. I brought some for you.
Oh, well, thank you.
Shh, don't talk. The seeds you are to sow will grow into a legion of skeleton warriors that will burst from the ground swinging swords at your neck.
Is there an ointment for that? Sorry.
Throw a rock into their midst, and they will murder each other fighting for it. And your neck will still hold its head this time tomorrow. And these herbs, burn them where the sleeping dragon waits for you, on the ground where her breath stirs the dust, and she will not wake to defend the fleece as you thieve it. Are you listening?
Ointment, rock, herbs.
Amazing.
Won't your father know you've helped us?
I imagine he will. That's why you'll take me with you when you take the fleece. All my father's prized possessions.
Bah.
And I hand him the ointment for the fire oxen and the herbs for the dragon. And he has this pained expression on his face, like some great puzzle piece is missing. I think he might declare his love for me, but then he speaks.
And the rock?
any rock. It's a field, Jason. There will be rocks there.
I always knew the gods were on my side, and Hera especially. Somehow it was her who sent the witch to me, and her potions worked their charm. The next day I plowed the fields as the fire oxen rained flames down upon me. My anointed self simply waved smiling at the king and plowed on. I planted the seeds as instructed, and even with the warning, it was hard not to be taken aback by bones bursting from the earth and aligning themselves in the forms of charging warriors bent on your death. But as it was foretold, there were rocks aplenty. And with one toss, the skeleton zombie warriors fell upon themselves in a heap of bone dust, their clanging weapons falling to a metal heap on the ground. Aeetes raged. Everyone knew the witch had turned traitor for us by now. By the time I made it to the place where the golden fleece hung, it was already down. The dragon already drugged, and the witch stood there, holding the golden thing. "We've run out of time," she said.
He had that same pained expression on his face as when I had no rock for him. "We'll tell everyone it was you. Jason and the golden fleece, a tale for the ages," I said, and flung it at him. "For glory's sake, we'll say he caught it."
You found me there on the path to the harbor, my hand in La Cologne's. You looked at us and shook your head and said, "Yes, well, come on then."
We made our way out of the harbor and thought for a moment our troubles were over. But her father had sent an imposing fleet in pursuit.
To be honest, I didn't know we had such a navy. My brother never shut up about ships, but who listened to him? You could see him there, close enough to see his wispy beard leading what could only be called an armada. Got all these princes and not a single plan. "Send a message," I said. "Ask for a parley. Tell him Jason will bring back the princess and the fleece."
The men weren't happy about having 2 women on board. Bad luck enough already, and now a bossy witch.
"We'll have to kill him," I said. "We'll have to cut his body into pieces and strew them in the sea. The others will stop to fish them out so that his soul will not be damned." I saw it all with sharp clarity. This is our only escape.
The Greeks were shocked by the coldness of it, but nobody had a better plan. You met their stares, each of them, and you said, "Don't let the bards sing, I did not love my brother." You came for eternal glory, did you not? Don't scorn me for paying your fare.
The plan went as well and as gruesomely as you might imagine. You wouldn't think a body would hold so much blood as to turn the sea red. His did. That night, the witch appeared to me on the decks of the Argo, dropped her robe, and stood there, staring at me strangely. "You are bonded to me in this," she said. I didn't know if she was talking about the dismembering of her brother or what was about to happen. "I love you, Jason." She said that, not me.
"I love you, Jason. Even though you are an idiot. God, the gods have cursed me with it. Pray to Hera to undo it. She'll listen to you. She likes you for some reason."
We were kissing. She spoke of the gods. Oh, she was absolutely terrifying. Never stopped talking, murmuring in some foreign tongue. Sounded like she was cursing the gods. Could have been anything, really.
The sky opened up in thunder and rain as I opened up. Horrible forces were clashing. No good will come of this. No good will come of this, over and over like a litany, like a short list of the benefits of the act. And then he thrust into me and blurted out some nonsense.
I said, I love you too, priestess! Felt more respectable than calling her witch. She cupped my face like fruit.
I held his face, stopped short of breaking his neck, and gave him one quick shake. Medea, I said. My name is Medea.
It was the strangest lovemaking, and the whole crew heard it. Glauco alone and I looked at each other apologetically, as if to say, not all Greeks, not all Colkins behave this way. The storm grew terrifying and our eyes grew wide and vacant as they do in dire times. Glauco alone sang a song that comforted us all through till morning, but the skies were so dark that the sun brought no light. That's when the ship spoke to us.
When we awoke, the whole of the crew stood over us with news that the ship had spoken to them. An actual mouth had formed on the oaken mast. I would not have believed the Greek sailors, but Layla spoke the words and crossed her fingers at her breast.
An actual mouth, yes, told us of a river west off the sea where we must seek absolution for the murder of your brother, to appease the wrath of the gods.
It didn't seem like the worst of ideas until I realized our course was set for the Isle of a great witch. Hecate's true protege, the enchantress daughter of the sun rider Helios, my grandfather, my aunt Circe. We were going to my aunt's.
In the weeks it took to arrive at the Isle, Medea made herself leader and won the respect and fear of the Argonauts, who looked to her for orders even when Jason stood at her side. When she shook with fear at the sight of the old witch, the men all shook too. If Medea was afraid, we'd be wise to follow suit.
She was an ancient woman. But that didn't stop her from making some lewd advancements towards the men and some gestures. Medea insisted we go alone up the trail to the old woman's house. I say house, but it's more like a shack with animals running around in the kitchen. The old woman cleaned up by knocking things off of tables, saying it wasn't every day that she had murderers for guests. She seemed to be talking to somebody else.
Well then, murderer, she said, and held out her hand for payment.
Medea paid her in Lydian coin. The old woman took her by the hand.
I was a bad friend. I was cruel to my nanny.
Asked her to recount her sins and regrets, from the first ones to the one that brought the storm.
I killed spiders. I kicked a dog.
It went on and on.
I cursed Eros. I betrayed my family. I used magic to aid an enemy. I betrayed Hera. I drove a blade into my brother's neck. With this man, I cut his body to pieces and threw them in the sea.
That will do it, the old woman said, and with that scooped up a young startled pig, slit its throat, and poured its blood over both of our heads. That seemed to be the end of it, until a look of recognition came across the old woman's face.
They came running down the hills, screaming and covered in blood. We didn't know whose blood. We screamed too. The old woman who chased them was screaming. You tricked me, my own kin. May the heavens strike you down. May your journey home be filled with loss. You and you and you. She pointed to 3 Argonauts, the last of which, my Glauco alone. May a bronze robot drag you to the fires of Hades. We laughed about this long after we broke free of the tides of Hades. But we would soon find out what a robot was on the shores of Crete. Hephaestus's great palace. And the men that Circe pointed to would die by it. You. And you. And you. In that order. We had Jason marry us when we were free of the river and could be certain that the seas ordained a captain for such rites. Now, there is a word in the language of Colchis for marrying under a curse. The Greeks would say denikos chronos, borrowed time. But neither captures the sweetness that you extract out of a moment, making a lifetime out of a month when you know a bill is due. I want this more than you, said the sun to the moon as the day was breaking, and the moon still high. I want this more than you, said the moon as it was fading, and the sky turned blue, and the day was one. And the day was one.
4 months to the day our hero returns, and only down a few Argonauts. Fame has beaten us home, and the men line the banks yelling, "Dragon Slayer and bearers of the golden sheep!" All of Locus is there to see me hand over the treasure, so Peleus is at least good and shows me to my father's house. I am shocked at the sight of him. Old and blind and lame. "Father, it's me, Jason. Don't you remember me?" But he doesn't. He remembers the horseman when I mention him. "You sent me to Cheiron, don't you remember?" And he makes a horse sound. His old lips flapping.
You return from your father's house a shadow. You sulk through the planning of our wedding, oblivious to dangers all around you. You think your fame buys you some protection when the opposite is true. Peleus owes you a crown and a mother and me a brother by my accounting. Do you think he will give any of that willingly? Wake up and take it! For a week, I fast and pray to Hecate for some answer, and on the 7th day, I follow my feet to a nearby clearing in the Pine Hills and find ingredients for a recipe there. Preparing it, I am confused. Forgive me, Hecate. I was praying for some poison. This looks more like an elixir for life. She answers me in my own words, as she often does, and says, "You have poison enough in your heart to kill 100 Peleuses, Medea. This is for another king."
If the Greeks didn't love Medea before, they loved her now. She brings Jason's father from his house and walks him right into the wedding, beard black and a full set of teeth. All of his youth returned to him. The Argonauts had seen some things, but even they looked amazed. Nobody could stop crying. Nobody could stop laughing. Jason, never the one to grasp a moment, drops to his knees and thanks to Hera. Oh, the crowd howled with laughter when the priest said virgin bride at Medea's pregnant belly. She gave them a small curtsy. The witch, the foreign witch, they all cried. Out of fondness, I suppose. Everybody loves magic when it's their weapon to wield.
It was the best of days for everyone, but old King Peleus, whose heart faltered at the sight of new black-bearded Aeson. We all knew on the other side of happiness some reckoning laid in wait. The king's daughters came to me in tears. Good witch, noble witch, do for our father what you have done for your husband's kin. Let him repay you tenfold once he is well. No one knows why they do what they do. I don't think I have ever loathed anyone like I loathed those princesses of Lolcus, painted nails and silk slippers, daughters to an unrightful king. Poison enough in my heart? Or was it simply balancing the books? Okay, my princesses, here's what you do.
You instruct the king's daughters to follow your lesson to the letter. The king must be punctured at the throat, his blood drained, his body sectioned into pieces. It was a gruesome task for such delicate creatures, but they set to it in faith that you would make him whole again, make him young again. But when the deed is done, you don't. He is just dead and butchered by the will of a foreign witch.
We're running through the hills.
Nothing moves faster than gossip in the land of the Greeks. No fury like a city scorned.
Away again, away from my javelin's path, everything owed to me.
Through the forests and thickets.
From my father.
In the black of a new moon.
In the distance, the city keens and wails.
They're coming for us.
And I remember young witches running blind through the hills of Colchis.
With hunting dogs.
Running until we thought our hearts would burst.
Barking their pursuit.
And we were lost.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Black so you could not see your hand before your face.
Lost in all senses of the word.
I should have known then what she was capable of.
A black void and nothing but our breathing.
And when even the stars go out, you find what guides you.
When even the dogs go silent.
Which way now? I can't begin to tell.
Forward.
Which way is that?
Any way you face is forward.
Up until this point in history, Medea, those are probably the least helpful words ever spoken.
This, for some reason, made her laugh and laugh.
And then the dogs began to bark again.
All across the waters, and the winds through the gates, and all the girls from the clouds will all come tumbling down the way she did on the day. Oh yeah, all across the water. All across the water, all across the water, I will rescue from the fates. All across the water, all across the water, all across the water, I will rescue from the fates.
Medea! Medea! First you slander the king, and then you make a spectacle of yourself to all of Corinth groveling. And to what end? Look where it's gotten you.
What have you done now, Jason?
What she's done. She's undone everything in a single pull. And where is she?
Off making a spectacle of herself, it sounds like.
Are you the nanny now?
What do you want, Jason?
It's my house. Do I need a reason? I'm here to make sure that she doesn't make things worse.
Okay, you talk in circles. Just say what's happened.
I'm here to see that she doesn't embarrass herself.
I'll be sure she gets that message.
No, wait, no, don't say that. Tell her. You know what? No message. I'll just come back when I can. It's not like it's my wedding day. Let me see them. Oh, but you know it's still my house. I can just come in there if I wanted to. 12 minutes from the gates of the palace to here, 12 minutes back. A good half hour gone every time, and the guests are already eating custards.
What a horrible inconvenience to have to visit your wife on your wedding day.
Medea!
What, Jason?
You've been to see the king.
I have.
You'll know you'll make a spectacle of yourself.
I'll make a what?
A spectacle to all of
Spectacle? To who?
Corinth! To all of Corinth, if you would just let me finish saying it.
Go ahead.
You'll make a spectacle of yourself to all of Corinth, groveling to Creon. Medea!
What do you want, Jason? Do I not have babies to nurse? Do you not have a princess to wed?
Just stop acting rashly. That's all I ask. When your temper guides you...
My temper?
Yes! When your temper guides you, as it did in Locus, you remember running through the hills, being chased by dogs? You remember coming to the gates of Corinth like beggars? Was it not your temper?
No! Jason, it was not my temper. I do believe you've not seen my temper.
You love to make people think you're dangerous.
I am.
By saying things like that.
Retribution is what is dangerous.
You just can't help yourself.
But only to the wicked.
I'm wicked? You called the king an outlaw, Medea. Now look where it's gotten you. Now you're deported.
Exiled.
Exiled. Yes. Our children too. Am I to ever see them again? Do they not belong to me too? You could have just stayed here, in your home, stayed here and slandered me for all your days. You cannot threaten the king, his daughter, all the royal family.
Are you not the royal family now?
And you are lucky.
Is it not your wedding day, husband? Has your javelin not finally found its nesting ground?
And you are lucky to be punished with exile and not death.
A Greek calling exile lucky.
And still, I do not disown you. When I could, when it would be easier to. Still, I come here. Yes, the day of my wedding, when you can't control your hysteria and I have to clean up after all of your abuses. And still I don't disown you. Hate me if you want to. I will never think as badly of you as you do of me.
No. You'll never think badly of me, only that my temper has brought us ruin and driven you to this betrayal. How can you be so utterly vile? What happened to you? To Jason, to mighty Jason who sailed the Symplegades, now grumbling about a 10-minute walk.
12 each way?
Have you no courage at all? No love at all? Where are the vows you made to me? Where is your integrity? What slanders have I spoken against the royals? What did I say but that you have vows to keep, that in breaking them there will be a cost? Is that not true? Even you who have had others pay his debts his entire life must know at least that.
Relent, Medea, for everyone's sake and your own, relent. I came here as a favor, so I could say, if you could for 1 minute not interrupt
To save me from what was it?
doing yourself, our family, destroying our lives.
Amazing. You would be dead 10 times over if it weren't for me. Every man aboard the Argos knows that, even if you don't, slayer of dragons. Should I have let my brother's fleet send you to the bottom of the sea? So many times you have judged me for acts that saved your life. Do you not think that Peleus, even from his bed, would not have struck you down? And after all the gruesome acts, all the debts you stood by and let me pay, the ledgers were clear. That's the thing. In the dark, lost in the woods, running for our lives, the ledgers were clear. Did storm clouds follow us to these gates? You say we are penniless, as if it is the worst thing you can be when you are standing proof before my eyes that it is not. You have a family, Jason. You have children. What is the cost to us when you build for yourself a new wedding bed? What is the cost of such an oath broken? God, you have made oaths to gods enough. Have those lost their power? Have you replaced them with oaths of men, with oaths of your own making? You have broken those as well. Should I return to my father's house? To my native land? Oh, to the unhappy daughters of Peleus? I have made an enemy out of the entire world paying your debts, man! And into that world I'm cast out for what? A new young bride?
What is it you want me to say, Medea? I can't win a debate with you. We all know that. But it seems if anyone saved my life, it was Hera. The day that she had winged arrows shoot an arrow into you. Everything you did on that long list to save me, you were compelled to by that act and against your will. I did nothing to earn your love. Hera's love I earned by rites before my time and by 1,000 makeshift altars to where I sacrificed to her as a boy. In your computation, you give everything and you receive nothing. That is not what I see. You lost Colchis, but you gained Greece. Fog for sunshine, brute force for justice, and the rule of law. Fame! All the kingdoms know of wise Medea now. Would they, were you still standing barefoot in the forests at the edge of the earth?
Would that we could turn back time.
I spent 20 years in a cave, being told my place was in a palace, never having seen one. From my first steps back to Locus, everything I did was to write my path in this world. The fleece that you helped me steal was to write my path. The path back to the throne of my birthright, the throne of Locus from where we fled like thieves. That door swung closed, and the gates that welcomed us here didn't welcome us as heroes, but as refugees. Look at this house. The cave where I was raised at least had carpets to which to warm your feet. Is there no part of you that can place jealousy aside to see that Creon offering me his daughter's hand in marriage offers me back my place long deposed? My path righted. The one thing I have wanted. Could we have even dreamed of it a year ago? Had you not kicked up a storm of hornets with the rulers of the city, it would have been good fortune for you as well. For the babies, our children, to bring them up worthy of the house of Jason.
The problem is that is not how anything works. Marriage least of all. Two people make a wedding vow. One of them wanted no carpets, and no kingdoms, wanted only a husband.
Who you despise!
Because you act despicably.
And you want to live your life despising me!
No, I want you to act with virtue so that I don't have to. I want you to keep vows.
I have older vows to keep than ours!
Your new bride's wedding feast is her rite of passage. You are marrying a child.
I am marrying the House of Creon!
I see. And after the wedding guests have gone, in the moonlight, in the bedroom, in the tangled of sheets, will the House of Creon stare up at you, or will Crusade?
Crusade will bring me children!
You have children here!
Children that will secure my life!
Oh, these are exiles?
They didn't have to be!
No, they could have stayed here as refugees.
It was a future for them, Medea. If you could have cast jealousy aside. I see now is the marriage bed that gnaws at you. Well, if there was another way of making babies, I would do it, but then the world would have no need for women at all.
You remember what my husband looks like? He just exterminated half the population to some fever dream of motherless babies. You have been practicing your rhetoric at court, but no speech can stand on such shaky foundations. You can't build a house on a lie. If this was such a gift to us, to me and our children, why didn't you come to us, plan with us? This boon to our family should have been celebrated under our roof. Why did we find your secrets out from bakers and fishmongers and not from Jason, the rock thrower, husband to the House of Creon?
Oh, yes, you would have made an excellent conspirator. Even now, you see nothing but the red of your anger.
Just speak the truth plainly. Our life is not glorious enough for you, that is all.
Not all soldiers home from war can spend their days bouncing babies on their knees.
Oh, God. What war? You went out raiding. I was there, too. Next, you'll say, not all men are lecherous.
They aren't.
Oh, yes. And the young princess is an unfortunate side effect of royal bonding.
It would have brought you security had you let it.
I am priestess to the witch goddess still. What could I possibly want with security? Pray I find no happiness that drives in hunger, or wealth that eats my heart.
Why don't you just pray things don't seem painful, or that being comfortable to you doesn't seem like suffering some grave misfortune?
Are these the prayers you make? Pray things don't seem as they are. It would explain some things. Oh, should I pray that I don't seem exiled?
You chose exile, Medea, when you chose to curse the royal house.
I have yet to curse it. You will know when I do.
I give up! You're bent on destruction!
If you hurry, there may still be some custards! Don't look at me like that.
Like what?
With pity. It will leak out your eyes.
The whole city pities you. And they don't even see what I see. Some arrow tip still lodged deep in your bones.
That is nothing. We manage our diseases until they kill us.
No, you have been wrong.
Does the whole city think that too?
They do.
From the shadows of their houses, they do. They could scream it from the hills. It wouldn't kill them.
I will scream it, Medea. I am a witness to it all.
Then you will be best to judge me when the time comes.
Well, no, it is Jason's nature that's on trial, not yours.
For now, the wedding day is young.
Should I be worried?
For what?
It sounds like you have some plan.
I have one
No,
brewing.
No, Medea, don't do anything desperate.
Desperate. It's a state of mind. You mean drastic, maybe drastic, desperate or drastic. Something is growing. Promise me you'll not speak of it.
I'll not speak of it.
You'll not speak against it. You'll raise no alarm.
Well, I don't know what it is. You want blind oaths.
Precisely.
I'll not speak against it. I'll raise no alarm. What did Creon say?
Oh, you heard, I'm exiled. The children, too. I had to beg for a day's reprieve, not to be run out of the city then and there.
Because you said there would be cost.
Because he is afraid of me.
Oh.
He said so without shame. My evil skills and my injury make a dangerous amalgamate. He had heard some threats I made against his daughter and a few against himself, and Jason, of course. Better to suffer your hatred than to be soft and live to regret it.
You could have denied saying them.
I did. What reason do I have to be angry with you, your majesty? You simply marry your daughter to the man you picked for her. I don't begrudge you your good fortune. It is my husband I hate. Give your daughter in marriage and prosper. Let me remain where I am. Let me raise my children here. I have been wronged, but I can keep quiet about it. Defeated by my betters.
Such skills at king flattery. But still he wasn't moved?
Your words are cajoling to my ears. But in my heart, I think you are forming some evil new plan. And I trust you less than when you began talking. You may be clever enough, but I am not, to keep an enemy here in our midst.
So that's that.
Yes, that is that. Where is the nurse?
With the rest, eating custard. There's a wedding, you know.
And the children?
We'll hear them when they wake. What is it?
I can't protect you from what's to come.
Am I in danger?
You will be. Justice is Zeus's daughter. And like me, from a line of light, I will be victorious over my enemies yet, Layla of Colchis. I've set upon my journey and now begin my path. You must go back and follow Jason and bring him here again. He won't want to, but tell him I realized he's right. That will bring him shuffling. I realized he is right, and I must beg one favor for my peaceful blessing and silent surrender to the wastelands.
What favor?
That the children stay here.
No, Medea, you...
Oh, do not worry, I would not give them to my enemies. It is a small deceit.
To what end?
So that I might kill the king's daughter.
No.
I will send you back with Jason, with gifts I've prepared for the princess bride. A finely woven tiara, a gown of fine silk to soften her sweet resolve, along with my request from Jason's mouth that the babies stay here and be pardoned their exile.
And by what does she die?
By the poisons smeared on her gown and crowns so potent she need only touch them.
Don't say it.
And then I will kill the children. My children.
No, no, no.
There's no one who will rescue them.
No, princess, please.
And with Jason's house in turmoil, I shall fly away from the murder of my most beloved.
Let it pass. Let it pass.
Let it pass. Pay the price. What good is life to me?
Take it back. Take it back. Take it back. Take it back.
The children born from me, he will never again see. Never again will he bear children. Never again will he wed.
How can you breathe? How can you breathe?
All his days he'll feel the weight of an enemy on his chest, an anvil that I shall place there, heart-smothering weight to crush them all.
This is not the way. This is not the way of witches. Even this is something different.
The way of gods, scorched earth.
I won't let you.
You can't stop me.
I will find someone who can.
You'll break your oaths as well.
All day you have planned for this. This, how can you just stand there knowing?
Grave acts are like that, you know, and you don't know. You stand at a crossroads wearing the three faces of Hecate.
Well, then look down another road. Nothing is done.
It is. It is done. Already I have sent you back with Jason. Already he has returned. Already I have begged him like a proper supplicant that the children might remain. Already sent him with the gifts that I prepared for sweet Crusade.
No, it is not true. It's not true. You have only just told me.
She has untied the ribbons, opened the brightly colored boxes, squealed with childish delight at the objects within. With the tiara on her head, she dances with the gown like it's her new groom with such joy as the king looks on and the wedding guests clap a rhythm to her dance. Already you return with the news.
It's not true. It's not true.
Her skin melted like wax, you tell me. Hardly a shriek escaped her until she fell, and the bones of her frame fell to the ground. And then Creon rushed to his daughter, scooping bones together as though he might reshape her. Oh, as if by holding her teeth in her skull, she might again smile. And then when he touched the crown, gold boils ran up his arm. He looked to Jason. "Your witch," he said, and then, like his daughter, he fell off his frame onto the ground. All this you've told me. Already I have cursed the fates, cursed the heavens, cursed love, cursed myself. Oh, children, oh, my children. What promises I am bound to never break them. What freedom it would be to crash through walls like a battering ram, shattering most old houses together. How light. Never in all my days will I see you happy in love. Never decorate your wedding beds. Never teach you to need a flame, or spark a flame, or plant a seed. Do you know I was foolish enough to think that you might see me in my old age? That I might find some peace there. All our dreams destroyed, all my life in sorrow, unmoving, unyielding. Spare the children. Let someone else pay the price. But I am stone and still. I long to bend like a river reed, and yet of Hades Christ, who cannot give them to my children. All my oaths extract their tolls. I know by my axe that they are dead. It is you who have killed them, and killed them already, and must kill them so that a price not be paid in vain. Oh, my little ones. God, what have I done? Let your mother touch, kiss your hands. Let me once more see your faces. The evil done to me has won the day. Let no one say. My judgment cannot check my anger. Let no bard sing that I did not love them more than any mother has loved a child. Let no one lessen the cost. Death comes. Let me bring it. Arm your hearts from this day to forever. It is not rage, but sorrow that consumes me. And never to feel either again. Lift the blade and strike it down. And it is done. Already it is done.
No.
You are doomed! Bury yourself under the earth! Fly! Heaven's overreaching vault! You will not escape the punishments coming to you! Do you know what you have done? You are doomed! But bring me the children. Bring me the babies, so if there's a way to save them, I can find it. You as well. You run for the hills. Do you know what that witch has done?
Do you? Do you know what horrors on horrors she piles today? Your children are dead, killed by their mother's hand.
What are you saying? Don't destroy me.
No, just fix your mind on it. They're gone. No, you please don't.
And high above the house, I rise. Like a golden sun. Like a golden sun, like a golden sun.
Are you all right, Your Majesty?
Isn't that what the stories say?
Sit here.
Tell me.
Tell you what?
When the gruesome deed was done and Jason went into the sea, them's there.
Now I told you it isn't good for you.
Oh, you were there.
Yes.
Tell me.
You flew above the house in a golden chariot.
So the stories say, or I did.
You did. Yes, you did. You did. Clear as day. You did. You did. And Jason yelled up curses to the heavens. Curse the day that he brought you to Greece and all of the evil you brought upon him. He screamed out a litany of your sins.
Yes, mine, and not his own.
Yes, yours and not his own. And he called you a devil and a beast. And then you simply yelled back that the gods would know who did what, which was a stately thing to say from the sky. But then you added, who's banished now, which was less noble. Jason wept and wept. And you said, look, I have reached your heart at last.
So the stories go.
So the stories go, yes. And you cursed him then. You told him how quickly fame would forget him, never to wed, no children born to him to line, no kingdom come. Spend your days with your beloved ship until her beams decay, until her boards break, and her masts split your skull.
I'll take that wine now.
Yes. I'll have some too.
I'm sorry, Layla, about Lauka alone, if that was in some way my fault.
Really, I don't see how it would have been.
No? No, I'm sure you're right. Let's look on him.
I couldn't. What?
No, not Lauka alone, Jason. The mask should fall any day. Long has death been patient.
Death has come for him, I think.
What, you saw it?
No, but the window is closed. Unless you closed it.
No.
It is all right to mourn him. It's all right.
Curse everything. Pray the song, sing the song you sang for La Colonne.
No, that is not for him,
And
Medea.
then the one you sang for the babies.
That too is not for him.
Then one of your own making that you sing under your breath. God, it's a mercy, I pray you, how long I have prayed for it. God, my love.
She draws a map of the ocean on the back of his neck. An X for where the ship will sink, tattooed in ink, and the date of the wreck. She traveled to oracles and prophets to try and wrest him from the fate. But they all see the look on her face she will wear on the day when the main soul gives way.
It's through here. Prepare to be, well, prepare yourself. Here it is. It's no palace, but it's also not much to look at either. It's Corinth, or just about. I talked to the king, and he said that he tried to recruit me in his royal guard, but I held off on that for now. But this is ours, through some courtesy. If you think we can make a home of it. That look on your face is not one of glowing appraisal. Look! Columns! The latest thing. A door. Not all of us grew up with such luxuries. Little inside area, little outside area. Close enough to shopping, not too close so the neighbors are too neighborly. You could do some witch stuff over there. You look like you need to sit. Let's sit. You should sit. Where's Layla?
Back at camp.
Oh, well, she's welcome here too, since she's our fellow. Is fugitive the right word? Oh, I talked to some women who are bringing over a crib. You do use cribs in Colchis?
I'm going to sit.
Yes, let's sit.
Jason, I made you make vows to me. When death hung over your head, you made your vows to me in front of the crowds at Locus.
I'm not under any spell, Medea. I make all of my vows anew. And to this one, too.
Yes. Two.
I shall tell him the tale of the golden sheep, how Poseidon sent a winged ram to... Some story, anyway.
Do you not know the story of the golden fleece?
I do. I know the parts where I come in. You should tell it. To him. Or her. To the baby. Or babies. Tell the story to the litter of babies in your belly. Any holes in my knowledge of historical events will be filled in as a side benefit.
Well, let's see. Where to start? There once was a king on the Gulf of Corinth, as it happened,
Ooh.
who tired of his wife and so married another.
Boo. Sorry.
His first wife, his true wife, feared that the new bride would bring danger to their children. And she was right.
Well, sure. They would threaten the line of her own children. Did she send hers to a centaur? A similar thing happened to me.
She did not. No. What she did was cause a famine by sabotaging the country's seed. Then through messages of the gods, through the mouths of oracles, she tricked her husband into sacrificing the children. Only by their deaths, she said, would the crops again grow. Their mother cried and prayed to Zeus for some answer. The king cried too, but for the good of his kingdom, lifted the knife himself at the altar. But before he struck, a winged ram swooped low and saved them, a flash of light that rose so high in the sky that it disappeared into a point of light to all those watching. The boy was named Phrixus and the girl Helle. The ram told them to cling tight, to not look down. They flew high above the sea, over mountains, over Mount Cithron, over Thebes, over seas, over the Hellespont, which was not called that just yet, not until Helle looked down and in fear lost her grip and fell through the clouds in the air to her death in the dark of the waters below, which now bear her name to mark the spot where the young girl fell from such heights. Phrixus landed safely in the land of a king who welcomed him. There he sacrificed the ram to Zeus in thanks and payment for his life, and there it would remain, protected in Ares Grove, on an oaken branch, guarded by a dragon. I know this story because the land was Colchis, because the king was my father, because Phrixus married my sister Chalciope, because that oak tree was near the blackberry bushes I picked as a girl.
Oh, there she is.
You should know this story, Jason, if you are to be famed for the quest of the golden fleece.
I should.
And because Phrixus and Chalciope had a son named Argus, who grew up to build my father a fine navy, but who left our kingdom with dreams of building the greatest ship of all time, if opportunity might find him, and should the fates allow.
Yes, should the fates allow.
Hi, folks. So I just turned on your ability to unmute yourselves so that you can wave and say hello to the wonderful actors. So if you'd like to turn
Thank you
on.
so much. Can you hear me out there at in Zoom land?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Slowly starting to
Yes.
come back. Hey everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Got to do that too. Thank you so much for coming, folks. I just want to, I know that these guys just took a curtain for our in-house folks. I just want to welcome back to the stage and welcome folks who just turned the cameras back on. Thank you all so much for coming.
Good show.
Thank you. For those of you at home, we have a few people in the house for the first time in 14 months. We have 4 more of these shows. We do have some opportunities for people to come watch in person. We have 4 more of these live streams. If you enjoyed yourself, please help spread the word. Let's give just one more round of love to these actors. Thank you all so much. I'm going to throw it back to Danny.
All right, yeah. Thanks everyone for being here. Like Glenn said, help spread the word. Tell everyone about the show. Tell them about the GoFundMe campaign. I I haven't checked to see if we got any donations since the show started, but we're getting awfully close. I'll even save you the trouble of having to figure out how to end this call yourself by just ending it for you. So have a good night. One last goodbye to anyone who's on the Zoom call that you might know. And yeah, we'll